All right, so everyone knows Linus Torvalds, right? The Linux guy. Sure. But get this. Today, we're going deep on his pops, Nils Torvalds.
Ah, interesting.
And this guy's story is wild.
Yeah, definitely not your typical famous offspring story.
So we're ditching the whole Linus's dad thing.
Pretty much. Nils Torvalds is a total badass on his own. Politician, journalist, and...
Okay, hold up.
yeah.
This dude is more than just Linus's dad.
Oh, absolutely. Nils has had a life, man. It's fascinating and...
Fascinating and what?
and kind of fucked up, honestly. And it all starts with this whole communist thing.
Okay, so unpack this whole communist thing for me.
So we're talking a card-carrying member of the Communist Party of Finland
No way.
from 1969 to 1982. Dude even went to Moscow to study economics, edited a communist magazine called Arbetartidningen and Height.
Wait, Moscow, that's like the heart of the communist beast, right?
Exactly, but it gets even weirder. Later on, he becomes a foreign correspondent for the Finnish broadcasting company.
Okay.
And they send him, guess where?
Back to Moscow.
First, Moscow, then Washington, D.C.
So this guy goes from editing a commie rag in Moscow to reporting on the communist world from Moscow and then the U.S. What the hell?
Yeah, and this kind of points to a bigger thing with Nils.
Like what?
It's like he's constantly shifting perspectives, shifting ideologies, almost can't make up his damn mind.
Okay, so he wasn't a communist forever, but how do you go from editing a communist paper to hanging out with Washington bigwigs?
Well, he ends up joining the Swedish People's Party of Finland
Wait, when was this?
in 2006. Big change.
Yeah, that's like trading your hammer and sickle for a Volvo.
Haha, maybe. But this wasn't just symbolic. It launched his political career, gets elected to the Helsinki City Council, even runs for president of Finland in 2018.
President. Damn.
Yeah.
This dude goes from commie to mainstream politician. What else did he do?
Oh, he was a member of the European Parliament. MEP, they call it.
European Parliament. Okay, now we're talking. What was he doing over there?
Yeah.
Saving the whales, fixing the economy?
More like fisheries, civil liberties, banking union.
Fisheries. Seriously.
Yeah, he was vice chair on the Fisheries Committee, even.
I thought we were talking about a guy who ran for president and hangs out with tech giants. What's with the fish?
It's all part of his story, diverse experiences.
I guess. Yes.
But hold on, we haven't even gotten to the really good stuff.
There's more. This communist turned politician turned fish lover.
Oh, yeah. Remember when Linus Torvalds joked about the NSA wanting a backdoor in the Linux kernel?
Yeah. But that was a joke, right?
Well, Nils confirmed it later. The NSA really did approach Linus about those backdoors.
Wait, seriously. Linus was approached by the NSA.
Yeah. Nils dropped that bomb during a European Parliament hearing on mass surveillance.
Holy shit. So this whole time, Linus was playing coy about the NSA. That's nuts.
That's a whole new layer, right?
A layer. This isn't a lake. This is a whole damn earthquake.
Yeah.
Linus, Mr. Open Source, getting hit up by the NSA.
It's definitely interesting. Raises a lot of questions.
No kidding. What did Linus even say to them? Did he even think about it?
Who knows? But it makes you think about the pressure these developers are under, even the open source guys.
Okay, my mind is blown. This Nils guy, he's like, I don't even know what to call him.
He's a piece of work, that's for sure.
Communist to politician,
Yeah.
Moscow to Washington, and now his son's getting secret backdoor requests.
It's a wild story.
Okay, let me catch my breath here.
Yeah, take a minute.
Communists, politicians, fish, NSA. What else is there?
Well, before we get into that, what about his languages? Speaks like 5 of them fluently.
5 languages? What the hell?
Yeah, and understands a few more on top of that.
This dude is like Jason Bourne or something.
Not quite, but...
All right, hit me with the language list. I'm guessing Finnish and Swedish, right?
Of course, those are his native tongues.
Yeah.
But he's also fluent in English, German, and Russian.
Damn, that's a lot. Any others?
He understands Flemish, Danish, and Norwegian.
Okay, this is getting ridiculous. Anything this guy can't do.
Well, he didn't win the presidency.
True, true. But still, the languages alone.
Yeah.
This is someone who's lived a serious international life.
Absolutely. It reflects his experiences, his work, his involvement in European politics. It all adds up.
Okay, so we've got the communist phase, the political rise, the NSA thing, and now he's a polyglot.
This is already crazier than I expected.
Just wait, we're just getting started.
Oh, boy.
There's a lot more to uncover about Nils Torvalds.
I can't wait.
So remember how we were talking about Nils in the European Parliament? It wasn't all just fisheries and banking, though.
Oh, really? What else was he up to?
He was a big critic of that whole copyright directive thing.
The what?
The copyright directive.
Copyright directive.
Yeah, especially Article 13.
Refresh my memory. What was that all about?
Basically, it's a bunch of rules about copyright online. you know, in the digital age.
Right.
Especially for stuff people share online.
Okay.
Article 13 was the really controversial bit.
Why is that?
It kind of forced websites to filter what users were posting for copyright stuff. So, like, imagine YouTube checking every upload for copyright before anyone could see it.
Yeah, it would be a mess.
So that's what all those memes about Article 13 killing the internet were about.
Pretty much. People were freaking out, thinking it'd lead to censorship, you know, like squashing creativity online.
Makes sense.
Nils was one of the MEPs who really pushed back against it.
Really?
Yeah, he was arguing that it just went too far,
Huh.
that it was messing with free speech online.
So wait a sec. The guy whose son made Linux, the most famous open source project out there,
Yeah.
is fighting against the law that could screw over online creativity. Isn't that kind of ironic?
It does show how complex his beliefs are, right?
Yeah, for sure.
He was really all about free speech, even for stuff online that could be controversial.
I see.
This probably comes from his own experience with censorship back when he was a commie journalist.
Oh, right, back in the day.
Information was tightly controlled back then.
Yeah.
Saying anything against the powers that be could get you in trouble.
Makes sense. So he was a copyright crusader. Got it.
Yeah.
What else did he do in the European Parliament? Was he, like, handing out pamphlets about saving the fish?
Well, he was into sustainability, but he actually won an award for his work on environmental issues.
What? Seriously?
Yeah, the Parliament magazine gave him the Environment and Climate Action Award
When was this?
in 2023.
The guy who used to be a hardcore communist is winning awards for environmentalism. This is wild.
It might seem weird, but if you think about it, both communism and environmentalism have this thing in common.
What do you mean?
They both care about the collective good, right?
I guess so.
Communism, at least in theory, wants everyone to share resources equally.
Okay.
And environmentalism wants to protect our natural resources for, you know, future generations.
Huh. Never thought about it like that. So he was a bit of a tree hugger, too. Did Nils ever, actually write anything himself?
You mean besides communist manifestos and fishing regulations?
Yeah, exactly.
He co-authored a book about Finnish-Russian economic relations.
When was this?
Back in 2005.
Okay.
And then in 2008, he wrote a book about the history of Russia in the 20th century.
So he's an author, too. This guy is like a Renaissance man.
Yeah.
Or a Renaissance communist. I don't even know what to call him anymore.
Maybe we should just call him Nils.
Haha, you're right.
It seems like labels never really fit him anyway.
Yeah, good point. This whole Nils Torvalds thing is way more interesting than I thought it would be.
That's the fun part of a deep dive like this. You never know what you're going to find.
True.
So we've covered his communist past, the political career, his activism, his languages, now his writing.
Yeah, this is a lot.
Anything else we should know about this guy?
Is there more?
Well, remember we were talking about his family.
Huh?
His father, Ole Torvalds, was a poet.
Wait, so creativity runs in the family.
Seems like it.
The dad's a poet, the son makes Linux, and Nils is a writer himself.
It makes you wonder what dinner conversations were like at their house.
I bet they were a lot more interesting than mine, that's for sure. All right, so we've got a communist turned politician turned environmentalist who speaks 5 languages, writes books, fights for digital rights, and comes from a family of, like, geniuses.
It's quite the resume.
Is there anything this guy can't do?
Well, we haven't really talked about his personal life that much.
Okay.
He has 5 kids,
5. Jesus.
including Linus, obviously.
Okay, I thought we were moving past the Linus's dad thing.
We are, but it kind of speaks to his values, right?
Oh, so.
5 kids, that means something.
Yeah,
He clearly cares about family, even with his crazy career and all the controversy.
I see your point.
Family man, communist, politician, writer, activist.
This guy is a walking contradiction.
Maybe that's what makes him so fascinating.
All right, we've covered a lot here. Fish, the NSA,
Yeah.
Russian history. I'm starting to understand Nils Torvalds, but honestly, I think I'm more confused than when we started.
He's not an easy guy to figure out.
So what's the takeaway here?
I think the biggest takeaway is that people are complicated.
Yeah, no kidding.
But for real, Nils Torvalds shows us that our views, our beliefs, even who we are can change over time.
Yeah, that's true.
He reminds us not to judge people based on their past
Okay.
or try to put them in a box. Life is messy, and so are we.
This guy's life is so wild, it's hard to even know where to begin trying to understand him.
Maybe that's the point. Maybe we're not supposed to have all the answers.
You think so?
Maybe the important thing is just to be open to the possibility that people can surprise us,
Okay.
that they can change, that even the most contradictory parts of their lives can fit together somehow.
That's pretty deep, man.
Well, philosophy is all about asking questions, isn't it? And Nils Torvalds certainly gives us a lot to think about.
My brain is fried. I need a drink.
I hear you. It's been quite a ride.
So I've had some time to think about all this.
Okay.
We've talked about Nils, his career, all the crazy contradictions, the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
But there's this one question that's bugging me.
Okay, what is it?
What's the connection, between Nils and Linus?
Besides being father and son, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like, did Nils's crazy life, his globetrotting, his communist phase,
Right.
did any of that affect Linus, shape him in any way?
That's the million-dollar question. And honestly, we can only guess.
Really?
We can try to find connections, look for hints, but
What's
we don't
this?
know what they talked about, what they really thought,
All right, well, let's guess then. What do you think? Did Nils, being a communist, make Linus more rebellious? More anti-establishment?
It's tempting to think so, but it's probably more complicated than that.
Complicated how?
We know Linus grew up in Helsinki,
Well,
which was a pretty intense place during the Cold War, politically speaking.
all right.
And he definitely would have been around his dad's strong opinions, his intellectual curiosity. But to say Nils' beliefs directly shaped Linus, that's probably too simple.
Okay, but how does a guy like Nils, so into politics and ideology, raise a son who basically becomes the face of open source software?
That's an interesting question.
It seems like there's a disconnect there,
Maybe, maybe not. Open source software is about collaboration, sharing knowledge freely.
Right.
It's a very idealistic concept, almost utopian.
I see.
And it challenges the way we usually think about ownership and control.
So you're saying it's kind of rebellious.
In a way, yeah. It goes against the established power structures.
But isn't communism about sharing too? Like a classless society. Everyone benefits. Maybe there's a connection there.
Could be. Both ideologies want a more equitable world,
Yeah.
even if they go about it in totally different ways.
True. But you got to admit, it's fun to try and connect the dots, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a fascinating puzzle.
Like we're putting together two completely different pictures.
Exactly.
All right, let's wrap this up. We went deep on Nils Torvalds. Communist, politician, writer, dad. What's the final word?
I think the final word is that Nils Torvalds shows us that life is messy.
Yeah, no
The
kidding.
people are complicated, that the best stories don't fit into a neat little box.
He's proof you can be a communist and an environmentalist, a Moscow insider and a Washington correspondent, a dad of 5 and a member of the European Parliament.
It's a lot to take in.
It's enough to make your head spin.
But it's inspiring too, right?
How so?
It shows we can grow, change, embrace contradictions, make our own way.
Even if it takes us in weird directions.
Exactly. Nils Torvalds might be a paradox, but he's a paradox worth knowing about.
Damn straight. Nils Torvalds, you're a real enigma. And that's what makes your story so interesting. Thanks for coming on this wild ride with me.
My pleasure. Until next time.